Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L, and now let's talk some Darling in the Franxx episode 16. These are going to be my general impressions. Keep an eye on the channel. I might make some companion videos for this episode because there's a few cool topics coming in there, and I just haven't been able to think about it yet, so I'm going to separate them into different videos. Anyway, let's just get right into it. Let's talk about that Darling in the Franxx episode 16. So this episode is a down episode. It's a chill episode. It's the kids have to collect themselves kind of episode. Going into the episode, there's a lot of things happening. It's been a month time skip. We have a lot of interesting plot morsels being laid out for us. But the thing that's really here front and center is undoubtedly the kids and their character development and how they're intermingling in their group. Like, obvious standouts in this episode, we have Mitsuru and Kokoro. They're doing their own thing, and they're also, well, Mitsuru is developing with his hero relationship. We have 02 in general being accepted in the group, and it is absolutely amazing to see this happening. And then we also have, actually those are the main guys, and then Futoshi having some interesting problems that really make more sense in a wider context that we're going to talk about in this video. That's definitely going to be one of the topics that we touch on here. Anyway, we have a lot of plot elements being thrown around between the ship that Ape is building, between Ape's remarks, between Dr. Franxx remarks, and mind you, Dr. Franxx and Ape, they have remarks that require, I think, extra detail, so I will make the videos for those two things in particular. Anyway, let's talk about just general forecast for the future. We do not have the preview yet for this week. What I am thinking when I sit down and I see this episode, this made total sense. The fact that the kids that we were going to get a chill episode, this makes total sense. This has just been the pattern. If we're playing by pattern, honestly, I foresee maybe 2 more very chill episodes with maybe like some little fights in the background. Like if you think back to episode 6, 7, 8, 9, around that area. I think episode 6 was the beach episode, but if you think back to like 7, 8, 9, like when we started the character centric episodes, those episodes sometimes featured a very quick skirmish at the beginning of the episode or something. But honestly, I don't see it happening. And even if it then, like, it's going to be the bare minimum. Like, if I was to make my prediction right now, I'm saying 2 more episodes that are going to have some drama in it, but they're ultimately going to be relatively chill. The good thing about it is that, you know, we're probably going to get a lot of character development if this were to happen. But I think Franxx, we're not going to see Franxx based combat for a little bit, or not extended Franxx based combat. So that's something to look forward to. We'll have to see what the preview says ultimately, but I'm seeing more drama coming our way. Now, considering the drama in this episode, there's a lot of big concerns, and Futoshi is obviously one of the big concerns, but the way we're going to talk about this, you look at the episode, and we got to start playing comparison games. We look at which kids are having trouble, right? In this episode, we've got a lot of signs, and I want to also like kind of applaud the episode for this as well, but Nana is also being lauded in with those kids, and when you have that sequence with Nana and her like having a little headache, that is an indication of they're establishing a connection from Nana to the kids, and they effectively framed the episode when they had that moment there. The moment happens very early on in 7 minutes, and it tells us that we're going to be seeing pains or like weird conditions recurring throughout the episode, and that's really what we get. And from the episode itself, we know Ikuno affected, Goro affected, Miku affected, and her problem, like we saw what happened, what the full culmination of this problem is that Miku had some gray hairs appearing in the rest of her head, and we saw like one of the kids from Plantation 26, I believe, he had gone totally gray between the times that we saw him. So Miku's already started down that path. Most likely Miku's gonna get a episode with Zorome to save her, but we'll confirm that in a little bit. And we had then Futoshi. So those 4 for sure. At this point in time, I would like to say that Zorome is also very likely of getting affected by something, but those 4, between child fevers and degrading compositions of their bodies, we know that they're affected. The way that I am seeing this is that we know that the yellow blood cells are linked to emotional states to some degree. We had that with Hiro, and we might have seen that with Mitsuru if we like start talking about how he survived. But the way I'm seeing it is that these 4 people in particular, they all have emotional problems. So I think that if the kids sort out their emotional problems, they're probably gonna be safe. Hiro as a parasite is safe. Ichigo, honestly, it depends. Goro had his heart broken, so his emotional state might have been deteriorated to a point that his immune system was compromised. Ikuno, we know that she has some serious problems going on with with Ichigo. And Futoshi, obviously, he is a problem all in himself. Like, he has a lot of issues going on with him right now, especially considering the Kokoro heartbreak. On the flip side, you consider 02, you consider Hiro. Hiro had his moment, but he fixed his problem with an emotional reaffirmation. Then we had Mitsuru and Kokoro. Most likely Kokoro's not going to become unhealthy. I don't recall if she's ever had the child fever, but right now I don't believe that Kokoro's on the way out. And Mitsuru, he's already had so many problems before, but he seems to be recovering, such that I don't think Mitsuru is going to have problems in the future. As for Ichigo, it's like I'm trying to make a pattern here, but I don't have enough information. But right now, the kids who are showing these symptoms are all the ones that have the severe problems with, when it comes to their emotions and their socialization. So I want to see how exactly this is all going to manifest, or if the fevers and all that are like a chrysalis type thing where after you get past the fever, if you survive it, you become better. It's still a bit up in the air for me, but that's where my mind's at. To sum it up, pretty much your bad health is caused by your bad emotional state. Specifically on Futoshi and bad states, like, to me it seems like it's pretty hard to tell with the episode, but I think when it comes to Futoshi's problems, I think Futoshi's problems are not just psychological, I think they're physiological. I think he legitimately can't eat food that well, and this makes sense if we consider the degradation of bodies. So with Futoshi, it's very tragic when we see it, but we also see that when he's trying to eat the food, when he's picking it up, when Zorome confronts him on it, he's trying to eat it, but he's vomiting it back up. I don't think that's a simple psychological problem. I think his body just can't handle food anymore, which is really sad. Given the opening, I don't think there is much hope for Futoshi, so I think we're going to continue seeing some kind of degradation in his system unless he's able to make legitimate social connections with Zorome. And Zorome in himself, he's a bit like, he might be healthy compared to the other 4 kids, because he seems to have he has a lot of shots in this episode that highlight his disillusionment with the adult. We know that this was the kid that was going to get hit worse by it, but now we're seeing it kind of happen here. And so between his disillusionment with the adults, his reliance on his friends, and his little moment with that lady that he forgot, I do wonder if that's put him in enough of an emotional state that he can be healthy enough. Anyway, his moment with Futoshi was very powerful and I very much enjoyed it. Now, let's move away from the depressing stuff, and I'm not also going to talk about the happy stuff like Kokoro getting a kiss and 02 being adorable, because there's not really much constructive information that we can get other than I'm such a fan of it. But if we move into other things, it's been a month since the kids had the Grand Crevice fight, right? These kids have not been mobilized in a month. And we know we have a talk from Dr. Franxx that might be saying that he's trying to keep them not being mobilized in general. But I look at this situation and I'm thinking back to the idea of freedom here. The kids are not free. Heck, their home even has holes in the top that they could escape out of technically, but the kids aren't free. And so, all these talks about wanting to see the world, all the talk about wanting to go out into the world, what we ultimately see here is that the kids are still very much caged, and even when they have the opportunity to escape, they're not gonna leave it because they're comfortable in this area. They're comfortable in their situation. They're comfortable in this house, and as we saw in the episode, they can be relatively competent when it comes to catching their own food, and they can be self-sufficient. But especially with 02, who was so rebellious with Ape in general, we see how she's pretty much dulled her fangs and lost her horns, so to say. 02, just being happy, she's complacent. Her being with Hiro, she's complacent. she's complacent in the system because now that she's kind of accepted herself, she doesn't really have that angst that can motivate her to try and get out of the system. This isn't good for 02. I don't think it's good that these kids have just been hanging around there for a month. I don't because it does speak to how conditioned the kids are and just how hesitant to change they are. So whenever you have those talks about freedom, it kind of falls flat on my ears or falls on deaf ears because there's no freedom in what they're doing here. If anything, 02's just become tamed because she has a place she can be happy with. Like, the kids are finding comfort in each other and in their little home that they have there, and they find comfort in how things used to work. But that's ultimately it's a detriment to them. I would rather see the kids try to escape, because every time for as long as they're inside of their house, they are under Ape's control. So that was one thing that I found very interesting with the episode. Like, they've been there for a month. It doesn't matter how much they talk about going and flying into the sky and going after these ideas of freedom, because ultimately they don't know how to seize freedom when it's right in front of them. And clearly they don't think about pursuing that freedom anymore, especially given like 02's current state. So I think the freedom rhetoric it's just going to be a rhetoric. They're going to become people that, unless something critical happens in the next 2 episodes, they're just going to be living life the way they always have. Actually, on the note of rebellion, I missed something, and that kind of changes things. There's a seed of doubt being sown in, because when the kids went and they collected their food, they did not pray and say thank you to Papa. So, okay, you know what? That's a seed of doubt there. Okay, that's like a seed that can grow. Hopefully they will play up that angle, and then in that case, rebellion seems possible, but that seed needs to get watered a bit more. And now this is another like logistical issue. They're fishing, and I'm wondering, there's gonna be overfishing problems. There's no way this is gonna end well. Like, they are fishing from the little like finite pond. There's gonna be resource problems if they continue fishing. Like, these kids are gonna have to learn about sustainability, but they're not, because there's no books on sustainability. Because look at the rest of the world. Clearly the rest of the world didn't know anything about sustainability. So I'm concerned for these kids' future. That's ultimately what I'm thinking. Like, overall, it's a very interesting episode. It's a very good episode, given that it's so chill and it's opening up a lot of cool things. But I spot a few, like, I want things to be happy. I want 02 to always be happy, but given what we're getting at the end, it's probably not gonna go down that way. Anyway, those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you thought down below, and look out for the companion videos that we will maybe soon see. Anyway, till next time. Also, I'm looking at this thing, and there's like a Klaxosaur in here, but like, I'm looking at this. You know what? If we're playing up like the references to mythology, I'm pretty sure there's like a serpent in one of those. I think it may. Which one is Thor in? Thor is Asgardian. Asgard is like, is that Norse? That's Norse. I'm pretty sure there's like a serpent that's under the world that would destroy the world. I can't remember what it's called. I'll have to look it up, but keep an eye for that video. Anyway, guys, till next time, I hope you have a great day.